you know, like the blender flip I did like in 2000, I think. And then like that was back before like Instagram and stuff. So it was like the day of the X Games, and I wasn't going to do a blender in my run because that was Marty's trick. I'm like, I'm not going to do it unless I could like do something with it. And so I did it just in practice at the X Games. And maybe it was karma because I got last place and he got first. But I did it in practice, and Tex there like saw me do it, and he rode full speed across the whole practice area, and he came up and he did this like 90-degree skid like a police officer, like he's like, hey, you know that's Marty's trick, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, it's just like I'm just doing it in practice, like I'm not going to do it in the contest. And like he gave me this whole big lecture about being original, and I'm like, yeah. So I was like, I do like that trick, I want to do something with it. So I got last in the X Games, and then I pulled that trick like a few weeks later, you know, on video. But then like Simon did it like a year or something later, but that was when videos like weren't coming out like every 6 months or whatever. So it's like, I think he and I were actually doing it in the same video probably. But I had done it like way earlier, you know? So it's just like the matter of when it, I think it was in Flatland Manifesto, like the first clip in the first edition, but I saw somebody on Instagram was like, no, Simon made up that trick. I'm like, I think I did it first, but no big deal. Like, I don't care. It's 20 years old. It's a fun trick, whatever, you know? So.
Okay.
So then you never resolved it. Well, okay. So Matt, this next one is called the Gumby Vendetta.
Joe, I already talked to you about
that. And Dave vehemently denies it.
Oh, Joe, you just are relentless. Okay.
So okay, Dave is increasingly unsettled that Dean Palacio got the Nourie handstand in the magazine first. And he's becoming increasingly unsettled as we talk to more and more guys on the show.
I got on Haro. Enough. I mean, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Because as we talked with guys, okay, so this is how Eddie Fuel has settled the ambiguity of, did James McGraw do the backwards rubber ride before RL? And he said, well, RL got in the magazine first.
Okay, so that's proof if it's in the magazine first. So if the photographer and the editor likes you, like it'd be a shame if like they also took a photo of Dave Nourie, but it ended up on the cutting room floor. So now like the editor is the one who decides.
The picture I got in the magazine was this. This is me, you know, with my long hair and my thumbs up. Right next to it is the Nourie handstand and Dean Palacio. Joe, you're trying to stir stuff up and you're not getting me. So
it's just this is the liberal.
This Gumby Vendetta.
Yes, the liberal media had extreme power back in the day. So we know that Dean stole his thunder at that first contest. So the story goes, well, according to some San Diego writers, Dave was remarkably absent. They remarked at his absence between those two contests. Dave tells the story. So Dave, why don't you tell the story of how the Gumby was invented at that?
I still tell it to this day to the kids when I'm teaching. I say, okay, I was going to this big contest. I just got on Haro. I'm in San Diego. All my friends are there. My mom is out. And I'm goofing around before my run, like literally 10 minutes before my run. And I'm doing the
just to shake your nerves off. Just to shake your nerves off. You're doing this trick. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I think so. Right. Yeah. I'm in a crazy position to shake off the nerves. Okay.
My mom is taking pictures and I'm doing the handstand. And just a little background. My mom is into dance and theater. So she's always been like really, I think a lot of the showmanship has come from her input and influence, right? So I'm doing this handstand, the one that I lean the bike on the pedal, the one that right before the Gumby. And my mom's taking a picture. She's like, you should take a hand off and, you know, wave to the audience. And I'm thinking, I don't know how many moms, you know, encourage their sons to, you know, in the midst of a hand to do it one-handed. So I figured out a way to lean my body and put my hand and I'm waving and I kind of got tired and then I twisted around and I turned into like what is now called the Gumby. And my mom's taking pictures and she's like, oh my gosh, that's a great trick. And I'm like, it's not really a trick, Mom. I'm just like, I've never did it before. She's like, you have to do it in your run. And so then I did it in my run, and that was 85 San Diego contest. And it's the first trick that I did. And now Joe's got some Gumby Vendetta that I created to get back at
Does
Dean.
your mom get like co-writing credits like Lennon and McCartney?
Yeah, right.
Like that, like she helped invent the trick.
But I did get it in the contest, I did it in the contest first. I made sure that no one else had seen it because I had just made it up. Joe's got some other story that I had.
Because a ramp rider enters a flatland contest and does your trick, gets in the magazine first, and then somehow magically, I was just, it's no thing. It's Gumby. That's my name. Everybody knows it. I just figured it out 10 minutes before my run. It's no big deal for me. I just make this stuff up.
Yeah.
I think that's the Gumby Vendetta. And I think that I submit that Dave worked his ass off for 2 months in between those contests.
I see what you're saying. So in between the contests, when he was missing, he was working day and night on that trick, and he wasn't going to show up until he did it. And he's, no, guys, I've known the trick the whole time. I made it up.
To do a trick that he knows Dean Palacio would never do.
Joe, what would be interesting to find out is that if Dean even entered that contest in Flatland. I know he did it in Venice or the Huntington Beach contest. I don't know. Oh, I went to Expert. I wonder where. So you should do a little digging on that just to try to back up your story a bit. Because
I have. And it turns out that was the last Flatland. You went up against Dean. You beat Dean. That was the last Flatland contest he ever entered.
So I put him in his place.
Boom.
Oh.
Boom.
Oh, did you see the look on his face?
I think there's something to this.
Yeah, Joe, you've been working on this. I think all these series you've been building up to this moment.
No,
right?
No,
yeah,
I haven't.
I think you are, Joe.
I just had this idea a couple of minutes before we started the Zoom.
That's fact. That's freestyle.
So thank you.
I was texting with my mom.
Did you hear Matt? He just said it's freestyle. Enough, he said. And you can edit this part out.
That's fact.
I don't think he did.
I said you're gonna edit that part out. You're gonna edit out.
That's freestyle.
Matt saying that it was freestyle. Is that because Matt? Just so you know, he's the one that does all the editing of the show.
It's going to be a deep fake where I'm going to go and I'm saying freestyle, but it's going to go fact. In fact, I'll give you a good cut right now. That's fact. Now you can just swipe that right in. So I'll give you one of each. Ready? That's fact. Take two. That's freestyle. All right, so just use it however you want. So
on every episode from here on out.
Oh God. I can tell this is going to go on. All right, Joe, let's move on, okay?
That's fact.